We're just settling for what the bowlers are dishing up here. An interesting fielder, obviously trying to make him play on that offside. He did become comfortable early in his innings against the left-handed Jackson Coleman outside the off stump. With plenty of balls in the air through the point, backward of point area. So obviously, I think they've seen here something with the CA11 bowlers. And this time, once more, just well stopped in the end by Sam Whiteman down there.
It's an interesting field, isn't it? Because you've got a keeper, then you've got sort of almost Sam Whiteman who fielded that ball maybe around sort of fourth slip. And sticking to this line outside the off stump. We mentioned the 7-2 field, and it's probably why KL Rahul was sort of trying to shuffle across his stumps and whip one through leg side where there's no fielders. As you see, change of attack, it's going to be bowling around the wicket. Don't mind this from the CA11. They're trying to find a way to get a wicket, especially on this sort of Australian track, which is slightly benign. Maybe India could have, you know, looking back, could have tried various different tactics. We didn't really see a lot of them bowling around the wicket and into the ribs, and maybe they're just sort of conserving their energy for the test match.
This time he takes a single as it's flicked to mid-on, and that'll end the over as well. So 5 runs coming from it. 24 gone now. This partnership at 77 between the two openers, which we can expect to be the openers in the first test in Adelaide. What date that kick off, Dave?
Starts on Thursday.
Starts on Thursday, okay.
Yes.
So
India fly down to Adelaide tomorrow. I believe the Australian team might be there tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. I think tonight, because I believe some of them will be speaking to the media tomorrow, maybe a practice session. So that's going to happen. And then, of course, I'm sure India, they've been kept in the field for about 130 odd overs or even more. Might be a bit of a rest time for them. Tomorrow's travel day, but even Monday, and then really get into things on Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe just an optional practice as it is before a test match. And the bowlers who aren't really going to play never have more than sort of 24 balls or 30 balls in the nets. And Murali Vijay, who's at the non-strikers end at the moment, he's got this habit that if he's playing it, whenever he's playing in the test match, he doesn't really like to bat the day before. It's all part of his preparation.
Fallon's into Rahul. Been very impressed with Fallon so far in this game. I've followed his first-class career today. He's had a few issues just in terms of his consistency, and it's all with all young leg spinners can be rocks and diamonds at times, but he's bowled with really good consistency in this match.
Just looking at the Indian dugout. So if the wicket was to fall, looks like Hanuma Vihari's padded up. So he'll probably coming in at number 3, and I think Rohit Sharma's also got his pads on at number 4. So if a wicket does fall, or maybe they up, maybe both of these getting to a 50, or maybe once KL Rahul gets to a 50, and he's helped himself to 47 with that sweep shot.
Yeah, didn't get all of it, did Rahul, but plenty of vacant space out in that square leg region, and fell safely and went to the fence. So I'm not sure if you'll quite call it a return to form, Gav, but after missing out in the first inning, it's nice to see him scoring a few.
Yeah, it's been good. I still think there's areas he can improve on. I think he's just got to tighten up a little bit. Still looks for that shot, and sure.
Back pulling, and that'll be the 50 for KL Rahul. One bounce 4, and this crowd give this Indian opener a warm applause for his efforts. Shows you how new that opening partnership is. Gaz still working on the handshake.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've opened together in sort of 25 innings for India. Only had 100 partnership. So he's basically gone with 3 openers for sort of the last 3 or 4 years. We've had KL Rahul and Murali Vijay to get the single. They almost stood mid-pitch, almost looking at each other for a while, but Here's the replay.
And this was the shot that brought up the 50. Bit of a long hop from Fallons. Rahul taking full toll. It's a good shot as well. It's not easy. Certainly had to reach for it in the end. Noted a lot of revs on the ball from young Daniel Fallons.
Yeah, you can just see that's why it's called Test cricket or 4-day cricket. We saw Dan Fallons really bowl well in the first innings when he was sort of fresh, and here he's had to spend some time, you know, at the crease. Then before that, a few on day 2, and also have a few overs. So it becomes a bit of a challenge having to come back and bowl again and again, as I think we're going to see Aaron Summers coming back on from the far end. But that's the big test, and that's why it's called Test cricket, because you need to come back the day after. Like sometimes when you play golf and go out and shoot a good 75 and you feel really satisfied, but you know, when you come back the next day you're up to 90 again. Well, certainly that's how I play my golf. I'm not sure about you, Max, but that's why we differentiate between those professionals and the amateurs out there.
So young Aaron Summers back for his second spell in the second innings. None for 9 so far from his first 4 overs, and was impressive early on. And some interesting tactics given to him by his captain. He was bowling around the wicket, bowling a lot of short stuff with a heavy offside field, particularly at Murali Vijay. Didn't get himself a wicket, but wasn't leaking any runs. So ball's a little bit older now. Not that he relies too much on swing, but it's a good test for him now. He's got 2 men out on the hook on the onside, a slip in place, a gully, point on the fence as well. So here's Summers. Rahul's just pushing that one to the man at cover for no run.
Okay, Rahul. Interesting about his name as well. We were talking about names yesterday. So he's asked how he actually got his name, and so his father...
From his parents? Is that not how it works, Gav?
Yeah, well, I was talking about it yesterday, of course. So you get your... Traditionally in South India, you get your surname tends to be your father's first name. While it's somewhere in sort of Western India, your father's name becomes your middle name. Sometimes you're named from the village you originate from, or your family had, you know, past sort of history from, or your name sort of also comes from, you know, what the family used to do as an occupation. So something like myself, coming back from Indian background, like the Joshis were traditionally the priests. And you actually get, what is interesting, you have a lot of Parsi community in India. Parsis, of course, came from Iran. They came to India maybe sort of in the 1850s, and a lot of their surnames have a wala at the end. So if you sort of if you're a cricket player, the surname would be a cricket wala. If you're a tea seller, it will be tea seller wala. You know, it's one of those names based on what occupation. So it is an amazing place, is India.
If you're an opening bowler, you'd be opening bowler wala.
You've got it.
Speaking of, Summers drawing the inside edge from last ball and beating the outside edge this time.
So KL Rahul, so his father was a Sunny Gavaskar fan. Of course, the Indian legend, first man to 10,000 test runs. And he was at a ground one day and he heard that Gavaskar's, you know, had a child, and somebody told him his name was actually Rahul, when instead it was actually Rohan. So bit of miscommunication, bit of Chinese whispers, and so when he came home, told KL Rahul's mother that, well, at the time we're going to name the kid Rahul. because Sonny Gavaska's son is named Rahul when he's in fact named Rohan. And KL Rahul's mother's a huge Bollywood fan of Shah Rukh Khan. Have you heard of him?
No, I'm not.
He's the owner of the Kolkata Knight Riders. We'll get Chris Lynn plays there, Simon Kadich coaches there, and a lot of his names in films is Rahul too. So it worked both ways, and that's why he was named Rahul. One by accident, by the way. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have been named Rohan. Just a bit of info about.
Just a bit of info. Gab Joshi. This one's nicely played off the back foot from VJ. He'll take some stopping. It's well done there. Out on the fence from Luke Robins, who keeps it to 2. Gabby been a wealth of knowledge throughout this game for all the fans and for all the commentators alike.
I'm just reading up on a bit more info about, and that's what we're going to do as a journalist sometimes. There's a shot by VJ.
Seems to have a lot of time on the back foot. I'm sure that it's not really a plan to bowl backward of a length swim. They probably want to
draw him forward a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Especially in Australia. And scored a terrific 100 at the Gabba, as you see. I'm not sure which of the players it is. One of the CA11 boys is out there signing a few autographs. Must admit, I wonder.
Yeah, they're not here for you, mate.
That is one thing about the Indian fans. As soon as they see a cricketer who's playing in the match, they will pose for a selfie. And
yeah, well, it's Luke Robbins.
It's Luke Robbins, yes.
He's just going back to the sheds. He's had a good match. 24-year-old from South Australia.
And it happens quite a lot. That was at the Under-19 World Cup and at Queenstown Airport, which doesn't have a lot of traffic coming through. As Jay punches that out on to leg side, the offside for a single.
Dan Fallon's now on for 26. He's got a bit of protection out there in the field. We've got 5 men back now. It's fine leg, square, mid-wicket, long on, long off, point, all on the fence. Thinking that the batsmen are going to take him on. BJ's back cutting to the sweeper at point for a single.
So I was at Queenstown Airport and the Under-19 World Cup had rolled up, and some of the Indian fans were down there and stuck in between a support staff and basically said, seemed like the Indian cricket team. He said, yes, we are, the Under-19 team. Oh, okay, I'm a big fan. So the gentleman said, okay, yes. Who do you know in the team? He said, oh, not many players, but we're just fan of Indian cricket. So the gentleman asked him, so who were you a fan of while growing up? And he said, oh, I was a big fan of Rahul Dravid, just loved the way he batted. Little to know that his wife, who was standing behind him, was tugging his shirt saying, you are talking to Rahul Dravid. So a lot of the time it's about taking a selfie first and then trying to find out who you're taking the selfie with. I just love cricket fans. Lots of tales about Australian cricketers going over there, sitting in sort of even Prithvi Shaw was a little bit courageous only even before he's made his test debut on the Marine Drive of Mumbai. If you've seen it, decided to take a walk one day from the stadium to the hotel, when next thing they needed to call all the sort of security officers and police because he hadn't even played test cricket, but here he was, you know, swamped by about maybe 250 people in a walk which is only 5 minutes.
This one swatted to the mid-wicket fence. Full toss from Fallon's getting the full treatment from VJ.
And speaking of selfies, there's one person you might want to have a selfie with after me. Jack Clifton. Here he comes, the great man.
You can see a replay shot from VJ. He's got a couple of those and he hasn't missed out. Did almost send one down the throat of the fielder not long ago, but placed that one with good control. As we welcome back Jack into the seat.
Hey Max, it's yeah, it seems like that conglomerate of Indian fans has got bigger. I don't think it has. I think they've just moved from the back of the grandstand down to the front, and they're seeing some pretty good shots. They rode the luck early, this pair, and now they're playing some really good cricket shots, and probably they're looking the most impressive that they have been and when they are going after the bowling. So we'll see how much longer they decide to bat. We might have to start playing bingo a little bit later in the afternoon, Max.
Yeah, well, there's probably going to be a couple of retirements soon, you'd think, given that we've got 19 overs remaining here today, as per the scoreboard. They might opt to extend that a little bit, given that I'm not sure that'll get us sort of around 5:30, and like no issue at all for this match. Summers continues again. Rahul on strike. 2 out on the hook. Slip in place. Pulling outside off stump and almost chopped on. Gee, it's a good bit of work behind the stumps there from Nielsen to stop that from going to the boundary. But this has been a really good second spell by Summers.
Yeah, just not giving the width there. Yeah, just keeping it tight, but also luring the batsman into thinking that he has enough width to go after it with that shot. But he was lucky to get away with that roll.
Yeah, just too quick, I think, from Summers. Bowled most of his first spell around the wicket. Short stuff directed at the batters. This has been good. Hits the outside edge again.
I think that's just what you were saying last ball, Maxi. I think that's just sheer pace that's beaten the bat there. And it was a short delivery, and that was still a bit at 130, 140 Ks. Probably dispatched, but upwards of 145, 150. Gets plenty of pace and skid behind that delivery. He's bowled well as well into his 6th over, only none for 12. After being so expensive in that first innings, it's been a really impressive performance to see him come back in this second dig.
You're not wrong there. A couple of gullies in place now. He's trying to hook that in once more. He might have kept it a little bit lower than Rahul thought, but couldn't get any stick on it. And just that bowling action from Summers is quite untraditional. It's just that baseball background he's got from his time up in the Northern Territory. Said that he used to play baseball as his summer sport and football in the winters, but one day his football mates convinced him to try cricket and realised that he wasn't half bad and very front on, a lot of shoulder. It allows him to generate awesome pace, and he's bowling well so far today. This one left alone, so just building the dots.
Well, a good line as well, keeping it outside the off stump, not drifting into the pads, not giving Rahul the opportunity to just work the ball onto the onside or try and find any of the gaps. He's been pretty short of a length and pretty full outside that off stump there. That's that length line. Not short enough for him to get the back foot and cut that, but not full enough that he come forward and drive. It's that uncertain length, and it's a good smart bowling from Summers. Of course, a few more cricketers coming from the Northern Territory. Jake Weatherall is from up there. Aaron Summers as well. The Strike League has been coming on leaps and bounds in the 2 years it's been running.
This time, Rahul does get it. It's a single. Yeah, and plenty of other members in that South Australian squad as well. Tom Andrews, the left-arm orthodox spinner. He's calling himself an all-rounder these days as well, after a couple of good scores in the Futures League, and so he should. I believe as well Kane Richardson might be from there as well originally. Darcy Short as well, another who's probably gone the furthest at this point in his young career.
If you had a Northern Territory side, if you throw those guys in, it's not a half bad outfit. It's they're doing the job at the top end, developing some good cricketers.
This one upish from VJ. He's controlled it well though. Takes some good stopping on the boundary from Upal to keep it to 2. And 3 runs in the end from that Summers over. Partnership now worth 99 between this pair. And VJ 42 from 78. He'll be hoping to notch a 50, maybe get back in the sheds, give someone else a bit of a go, but good way to get his eye in after missing out on batting in the first inning.
Yeah, well, they've combined collectively for 168 deliveries at the crease, so they've been in for almost 30 overs. But yeah, I would like to see probably maybe Rahane and Vihare. I would be tempted to put Hungama Vihare in next to see what he can do and give an opportunity to get some runs, and then maybe Rahane after that, and Rishabh Pant's another one. He's pretty much locked down the keeper spot, but good to get him some reps out in the middle. It just all depends. Obviously, the coaching staff know a bit more, and you can see that large area of Indian fans that have become glued to their seats as the afternoon shade of Sydney has hit, and they've really created a wonderful atmosphere here today, much like they did on last Sunday in the final T20 game. They really are something else, some of the best cricketing fans in the world.
No doubt about that at all. I'm going to see a change of bowling as well out here from the Paddington end. Dan Fallon's going to be given a rest, and replacing him will be Darcy Short, product of the territory, as we mentioned. It's been an interesting start to the 18-19 season for Short. I'm sure he would have loved to have been playing a little bit more red ball cricket, but such as his commodities in the white ball game, he's been running around for Australia.
Well, he's put forward his aspirations for more red ball cricket in the right way by hitting that polished innings of 74 in the first dig maxi. So, and obviously he has that other bow to his arrow in terms of being a part-time slow bowler who can tie things down.
Well, when he first came on the scene after an initial period of absence from the WA squad, he debuted around 2012 in a one-day game, then didn't play for 4 years. When he first came back, Langer was saying he's the second best spinner in their entire squad outside of Agar. He's challenging the pads there of Rahul, and certainly that's what was earning him selection initially in his first-class career. Everyone knows now what he can do with the bat, and he's trusted up the order by Western Australia in all the short forms and by Australia as well. Opened the batting well yesterday. This one's given some air, and it's going to be 4 runs between 2 men out on the onside boundary. And Rahul starting to get a move on here at the SCG.
Yeah, well, he's taken a risk there, and Darcy Short probably won't mind that too much. There was a bit of indecision there. We thought it might have been able to go to one of the fielders. He's just given that a bit of a wristy flick at the end, which probably got it out to that mid-wicket region. If he hadn't put that flick on the end, might have gone straight down the throat of long on. Good shot.
Half tracker, pulling hard on the back foot. He did too well though. Picked out the man. It was just a single.
And I think this is the key with Rahul, is that he can be a little bit shaky early on. It's probably kind of similar to Nick Maddinson, and where he kind of doesn't look that good at the start of his innings, but if he can get through that period, he can go on and play his shots and really contribute for his side.
VJ now much more orthodox approach, tapping it down to deep square leg for a single. So 6 runs coming from Short's first over. 100 up as well for India in their response. Still trailing the Cricket Australia 11 by 81 runs, but this opening salvo between VJ and Rahul has been a good one for India.
Talking about Nick Maddinson, we're going to get to see him a lot over the course of the BBL season. Melbourne Stars, I believe, is who he's contracted to now. How do you...
New 3-year contract down there for him.
How do you think he's going to go? Because I feel like Nick Maddinson got a bit of a raw deal, because people obviously focused on what he hadn't been doing in the 4-day game, but his 2020 form been brilliant. Apart from the first kind of 4 to 5 games last summer where the Sixers struggled, the back end of that season, I think there was a better player at the top of the order than Maddinson, where he was smoking the ball to all areas of this ground and plenty of other grounds in Australia as well. Yeah,
I don't think there was any issue with the Sixers wanting to keep him. It was more, I think, a choice of him wanting to explore other opportunities outside of the Cricket New South Wales setup. But you're right, he was outstanding, particularly in that second half of the season too, but also had a couple of scores as well in the Sixers first 6 games of the season that they all lost. So in the end, was the leading run scorer for the team. So we see Summers continue. And, almost drawing the false shot from VJ, but yeah, certainly no one's ever denied the talent he's got, in particular in the white ball game, but the red ball game is probably where he's had a few detractors.
And Josh Philippe signing on for the Sixers as well, so they're looking to rebuild and get some of those aggressive stroke makers at the top of the order. So he's a really exciting machine that the West Australian fans obviously know a lot about, and he's coming to his own at the start of this domestic season. So he gets a great opportunity to not only get a nice little payday from the Sixers, but also get his name potentially nationwide if he can put in some good performances for the men in magenta, which will be coming up very, very shortly. This ground's going to be packed out, I imagine, for a fair few of those games.
Oh, got him on the gloves there, Summers. Just balloon short of the men at slips. He looks to be hurt there, VJ. Looking at the thumb, it's not what India want. Another opener with a potential injury problem. Looks okay. He's not writhing in pain, but
yeah, might have just hit the fingernail, which can be painful, but not life-threatening, obviously.
Well-directed short ball from Summers. He's unlucky not to take a wicket in the end, but as you see, yeah, just catching the thumb on that bottom hand. Top one came off the bat. Bottom one couldn't get out of the way.
Sometimes when your thumb is there, thumb can just kind of get jammed in against the handle as well, so might have a bit of a black and blue thumbnail there that might need a bit of treatment later, but yeah, hopefully there's no fracture or no break. I don't think there is. I think if there was a fracture or break, what we saw happen to Graham Smith at this ground off Mitchell Johnson, you kind of see them kind of kneeling down and in some kind of discomfort. I think you'll be okay. He's just trying to shake away the pain, and Aaron Summers, he isn't bowling pies out there. He's bowling in excess of 140 Ks, and the fact that ball was short probably had a bit more zip into it as well, so that one would really sting Maxi.
Absolutely. Back live, he's staying out there, which is important. I'm sure he wants to raise his bat. 6 runs away at the moment. Here comes Summers, in full of steam. Full to Rahul this time, and no run on offer. But I'll tell you what, very impressive spell from Aaron Summers this, particularly after how he went about his work in the first innings. I'm sure he would be really proud of how he's gone out there. None for 95 from 15 in the first innings. He's made a really good account of himself in his second innings against India. No mean feat bowling to 2 batsmen of such quality. He's bowled well. Looks like he's just had a plan as well out there, Jack, which is important. 2 gullies still in place. And one of them is going to go chasing after that. Jonathan Merlo keeping it to 1. Brings VJ back on strike, and you'd expect Summers to challenge him with another short ball, given how the last one fared. Really exciting prospect. I was lucky enough to watch him play in the One Day Cup in Townsville, Jack, and he's got a bag full of variations as well. Aaron Summers, he's going to be an absolute handful in the Big Bash for the Hobart Hurricanes. He's back into VJ once more. Short one as you expect, but he releases the pressure valve with a little bit too much width.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for Aaron Summers. He's still a work in progress as well. He hasn't played a lot of domestic cricket. He's really only played the handful of combined 2020 and List A games here in Australia. So each game that he gets and each 2020 game he gets, he's going to get invaluable experience. And yeah, I think the thing with Summers is not to get carried away with the short ball. That's a really good ball. Much like Brett Lee was great at the short ball, but not to be overused. Make it a surprise delivery. Don't be bowling through those in and over, which has been good to see in this spell because he hasn't done that.
This time VJ goes after it, gets it around the corner. Down to fine leg to Hardy. keeps it to 1. So another decent over from Summers. And we see here now the physio for Team India, Patrick Farhan. He's at least one of the Australians on the support staff for India. Walking out there now to check on the welfare of VJ. And it's the thumb on the right hand, and
he's pointed to the bone actually, so he's not pointing at the nail, so that might be a little bit more comfortable for him. Not a whole lot of grimacing going on as of yet, which is probably a good sign if you're an Indian fan, but
absolutely
not a good sign the fact that the physio's out there and giving the old it used to be the magic sponge, didn't it, Maxi? I remember that being the case in English football in the 80s and 90s, but now it's the magic spray that they've got out there. Umpire's just making sure everything is all right with the batsman.
Yeah, Paddy Farhan is brilliant. Servant for Australian cricket, domestic cricket for many years, and been over at India now for a couple of years, and all reports doing a fantastic job over there. So good to see an Aussie shining on the world stage. As players also just having a drink from both sides, and these guys, it's been relatively chanceless this opening stand now to 108 between VJ and Rahul, and after all the headlines yesterday given that injury to Prithvi Shaw, Indian fans will be relieved at how these two are going about their work.
Yeah, because I don't think there's really ever been any clear-cut opportunities. It's not as if they're going to be they've been hitting balls that have been going straight to players, and they've been drop catches or LBW decisions that haven't gone their way. Overall, it's been pretty consistent from those Indian pair. There's been a few shots in the air, but well away from the fielders, which has been good. I'm just having a look at that scorecard you're looking through, Maxi, and the Melbourne Stars given the Sydney Sixers a run for their money with Lizelle Lee, South African at the top of the order, looking like she's playing a video game at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. First day of the WBBL. Scorchers won the first match of the season against the Hobart Hurricanes. With about 5 balls to spare over there, and the Sixers opened the batting in their game after winning the toss against the Melbourne Stars. Posted 7 for 165, and Melbourne Stars are cruising at the moment. They're 3 for 116. They've got to score 49 runs in 8 overs, which would basically mean they're favourites right now, particularly while Lizelle Lee can keep going. She's 73 not out from 39, strike rate of 187, if you don't mind. So she's showing some good form. The South African wicketkeeper bat. And out here, 2 guys in a bit of form, Rahul and VJ. You just wondered, Jack, we saw one retirement in their first innings, Vijinka Rahane, and we know about the opportunities we're hoping to, the couple of guys hoping to put their hand up for an opportunity. I just wonder if we might see a retirement sooner rather than later. Scoreboard showing 16 overs of play left to go today.
Yeah, you'd think so. You'd want to be giving at least a batsman 15 overs to set themselves and find their groove and get some batting under their belt.
Short continues now to his second over. You just see VJ doesn't look entirely comfortable. Bottom hand still writhing in pain to that blow just moments ago. Slip in place. Point long on. Square leg on the fence. Fine legs there, so it'll be no run on offer.
It very may well be that Virat Kohli and the coaching staff are happy with just seeing this opening pair out there and getting them some much needed practice because of how important that opening partnership will be come Thursday in Adelaide.
Clubbed in the air. He's pulled that from a mile outside off stump. Has VJ just for 1. Cricket Australia 11 have only used 5 bowlers so far in the second innings. We haven't seen Aaron Hardy. Took 4 for 50 in the first innings. Haven't seen Paramapal.
magnificent sight at this Sydney cricket ground. I'm biased because I'm a Sydney sider, but with not a cloud in the sky and perfect conditions for cricket, it's been really fun today.
Upish, and that is the first wicket to go in the Indian second innings. Dan Fallon's taken a straightforward catch. See the end of KL Rahul, who's gone for 62. Darcy Short strikes. Nothing special about the ball, but a pretty circumspect shot. With 109 runs on the board, the Indians have lost their first.
Yeah, just trying to accelerate the run rate and seeing that ball kind of be thrown up there. He probably thought he could cash in, but never really got onto this one. I think it dropped a little bit on him as well. Kind of almost became a Yorker length as it dropped on him and came off the toe a little bit and ballooned in the air. Nice smart catch. Good bowling for Darcy Short. Gets some Joshua awards for some good bowling, and you can also put that down to the partnerships they've been bowling, and Aaron Summers has been tying the Indians in loops at the other end. So they get the breakthrough, and I guess bittersweet for India. They lose KS Rahul, who goes with a partnership at 109 and gets a good half century. It also gives the opportunity for a new batsman to come in and some much needed experience in the middle, at least for the next 15 or so overs here.
Yeah, well said, Jack. And we see the next Indian batsman making his way out into the middle, and we are expecting a few shuffles in the Indian lineup. It looks like Hema Bahari to me, who, as we spoke about earlier, being a bit of a bat off between Rohit Sharma for that number 6 spot.
Yeah, well, it would make sense if it was Vihari because...
yep, it is Hanuma Vihari.
Yeah, well, he's one that hasn't really got that much experience out in the middle, so it gives him a chance to potentially put a good score in here and gives him some experience out in the middle. So I think that's a good move there by India. There's no point really putting the likes of Pujara or Kohli or even Rahane to a lesser extent. He got that 50 in the first innings, got over 100 balls out in the middle, so it's good to see them throwing the less experienced guys out there. Although when you look at Vihari's record, he's scored a lot of runs, 5,500 runs at 59 in first-class games with 15 centuries and 27 half centuries, so he's certainly done it, and he's been in good touch as well. 86 and 51 not out in that tour match against New Zealand A, so be interested to see how he approaches this and how he approaches Darcy Short.
Strike now defends the first ball that he faces. Half century as well in the first innings, 53 from 88 deliveries, 5 fours in that. He looked compact, he looked composed, he looked really good. He's exactly the type of guy ready to play in the Test Tour of Australia. Short's in, this one's full, and they get through for a single. It's Vihari off the mark. Partnership opens at a count, and India at 1 for 110. As you mentioned, Jack, just quite a remarkable record as the short over comes to an end. In first-class cricket, averaging almost 60. It's the kind of stats that are going to get you a game at the next level you'd expect, and also a handy part-time spinner as well. Bowling average of 37, as we see some of the fans out here today having an awesome day. But in his only test so far of his career, he picked up 3 for 37. His bowling average in test matches is just 12.6.
Yeah, he's a really talented player, and if not given opportunities in this test series, at least in the future. He's only 25 years of age, so he has a lot of experience, having scored so many runs, but still has plenty of years left in him to really be a valuable asset to this Indian setup.
So here is Summers. He's continuing from the Ram weekend. Vihari on strike. That pad in place gives him a little bit of width. Vihari able to work that out to the sweeper on the offside for a single. In this point in the game, Jack, 15 overs left. Just talking about getting guys to face a handful of deliveries. That's the major benefit of the match at this point moving forward.
Yeah, it is. And the Cricket Australia 11 are still using their frontline bowlers. It's not as if they're bowling part-timers or anything like that. Surprisingly, we haven't seen Aaron Hardy, although they may have be giving him a well-earned rest, having taken 4 wickets in a run at that first dig and then making 86 with the bat. But the rest of the bowlers doing a pretty good job of keeping India quiet for the most part, particularly this guy Aaron Summers. But yeah, really good experience at this stage of the day.
Up-ish. Well directed from VJ in the end, round the corner to square leg. He'll get a couple.
Well, we'll get a couple because Pranama Pal to stop us and didn't pick that up out in the
deep. He was there in deep back at square leg, but didn't obviously see the ball. Sometimes it can get lost a little bit, and maybe a lapse of concentration slightly there from the New South Wales all-rounder. But 2 more runs to the total there as VJ gets within a couple of a half-century.
Meanwhile, in the WBBL game we just mentioned, Stars vs Sixers, Lozelle Lee has moved into the 90s with only 49 deliveries. It's gone absolutely bananas down there at Junction Oval. It looks like the Stars should be getting the win to start their WBBL 04 season.
Incredible fight back with the ball. It's one thing to chase down that total of 165, but they pegged it back when it could have been 180 or 190 for the Sixers, probably where they need to be to win that game down in Melbourne.
Couple out on the hook now. VJ's leaving it alone. Changed his strategy to the short ball as VJ threw at this. He was evading them as Summers started this second innings around the wicket with a heavy offside field. Loaded up in the gullies, cover and slips. He was keen to move out of the way of them until he couldn't and hit the thumb not long ago, but since then he's played a couple round the corner and looked in control. Nothing uppish. He's a class player. So handy to have someone of his experience to come in with the injury to Shaw. So 48 now. That's 2 wide from Summers. Not called by the umpers, but easily could have been.
Yeah, that was a bit of a wide one there from Summers, and they're the kind of deliveries that he probably needs to try and eliminate. Because if he bowls a ball like that in the Big Bash, it's going to be sailing over the rope, or it's going to get called for a wide. Let's see if it was inside the markers. I think that was outside the markers there from my vantage point, but gets away with that one. He's bowled pretty well today, so we can forgive him for just trying to drag that one a little bit shorter to maybe rear up at the neck and throat area there of VJ. So 48 runs he's on at the moment, but the important part I think has been the fact that he's been there for 89 deliveries in this innings.
2 balls left in this over from Summers. This one's just dropped to me off. So he's been better, he's been more accurate, but he's definitely bowled with a plan. Summers in the second innings, and coaching staff for Cricket Australia 11 would have no doubt had a big part to play in that.
Well, I guess not coming through the pathway systems, a lot of other younger bowlers have come through where you're playing in 15s and 17s and 19s, and you've got all these really good coaches that are telling you to be disciplined in particular areas and develop to a plan. Often people in the park who could just run in and bowl, and that's probably what he's been in the habit of doing, but now he's bowling to a plan. He's $1 million.
This is going to be up from VJ. It's going to be 4 and 50. So this Indian opener, and he called into bat with injury to Shaw, post of 50, and accepts the applause of the crowd.
And that looks like it could be all she wrote here at the SCG. Players are coming together.
Might be drinks being brought under the field.
Could be right, Jack. No handshakes just yet, but the pairs sticking together. Be 14 overs left to play here. We'll see a replay of that last delivery from Summers Just giving VJ a little bit too much width. As we've said throughout this coverage and throughout his innings, he's very strong on that back foot overside.
Yeah, you can't bowl that short to a batsman like Murali VJ. It's really nice. Would have actually been a nice screenshot there of him lifting the back foot and just steering it over the top of the infield. It was a really classy stroke, and he's played well. He's had some issues with kind of his timing and hitting a few balls in the air, but he's rode his luck and he's made his way to a 50. So I think if you asked Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli before India's innings what they would have liked, I'm sure a 100-run opening partnership and then both openers getting half centuries probably would have been right up there on their bucket list. So that's been important for them to spend time at the middle. Unfortunately, KL Rahul fell a few overs ago, but at least it gives VJ a chance to push on here and Vihari to kind of get some experience out in the middle before 10 overs, get further acclimatised to these Australian conditions, and potentially get a 25 or a 30 not out if he gets a couple of loose balls from these CA bowlers.
Absolutely. KL Rahul, 98 deliveries he faced for his 62, 8 fours and a 6. Murali VJ, 52 not out. He's faced 91 deliveries and hit 7 fours, including the one from his last delivery to bring up his 50 so far. So I've read the memo. They're getting time out there in the middle, working on their opening partnership. And so far, it looks good between the pair of them. Vihari, it's going to be a tough little knock, this one for him, Jack. He's obviously keen to show what he can do. If there's only 14 overs left to play out there, there's not a great deal that he'll be able to prove. There's probably more that could go wrong than could go right in a knock like this, but
totally
he's there at the close of play, I dare say he would have done his job.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he needs to do. Don't try and overplay your hand too much. If there's bad balls there, try and put them away, but just try and find the gaps, run well between the wickets, and just spend time out in the middle. Enjoy the experience of playing on this ground. And yeah, I'm sure the selectors and the coaching staff of India probably looking more on how he's playing at the middle than particularly runs. So it looks like Coleman might be coming back into the attack here. We've got just tick past 4:30 local time here in Sydney, and we'll see if Jackson Coleman can continue on his merry way. He has figures of none for 13. He's bowled just the 5 overs with the one maiden, and VJ 52 not out, and Vihari on 2. Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, the next 3, or at least listed by the scorecard. Don't think that'll be the case. If there was another wicket or a couple of wickets to fall, you'd probably think maybe more like a Rohit Sharma or Ajinkya Rahane or Rishabh Pant might make their way out to the middle, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it a little bit later on. So Vihari's 2-3, VJ 52 from 91, and it's going to be Coleman with the pill in hand to try and get a bit of a breakthrough here for the Cricket Australia 11. There has only been 5 wickets today, so it has been a day certainly dominated by the bat. They resumed at 6 for 356. Did the Cricket Australia ended up powering their way to 544 on the back of Harry Nilsson, who made 100. Some wonderful innings by Aaron Hardy, who made 86. The tail wagged as well with both Luke Robbins, who we saw with the ball earlier, finishing 38 not out. Short of a length ball, just tucked onto the onside there by Coleman. Joshie was supposed to come in through 4:30, but he's obviously got a better offer. Max Bryant?
Sounds like it.
Knowing Gav is no doubt searching through articles of Indian cricket players and updating his Twitter feed and different things like that. So Coleman in his 6th over. This one just defended onto the onside.
So who's impressed you from the Cricket Australia 11, Jack?
I think probably with the bat, because in a day where there's only been 5 wickets to fall, there's probably not too much that the bowlers can press on you. Or they've been happy with the performance Aaron Summers has put forward in his bowling spell today. But I think Harry Nilsson, haven't really seen too much of him in person. I thought he was very, very good today, along with Aaron Hardy. But I just thought he played his shots and he found the gaps extremely well. This ball poked away, takes the outside edge along the ground though. Yeah, so I think that's an important innings for Harry there. He's still finding his way in first-class cricket and valuable experience on this deck to score runs against the high-caliber outfit like India.
Yeah, and it seems unless Carey starts getting red ball cricket for Australia, albeit his first choice in white ball cricket, Harry's best chance of getting in the squad might be with the bat.
Coleman with a beautiful ball that just beats him all ends up. Shapes away from the right-hander and whizzes past the outside edge. Hear the cries there. Good work, Jacko, from his teammates as he almost gets the breakthrough there of Ahari, who's on 2.
He caused a lot of problems in his first spell, particularly against Rahul, to Jackson Coleman. Looks a good bowler.
Forward and driving firmly. That was well timed. I'll certainly give him a lot more confidence than perhaps the shot that he played in the previous delivery.
So he's taken off after 10 overs, Jackson Coleman, and hasn't bowled for 20. So it's been a long time between his first and second spell. He's certainly been impressive, this young Victorian.
Yeah, don't they have a plethora of talent bowling-wise down there? Pad together as Vihari defends onto the offside. You look at players in that setup. And, look at Chris Tremaine and Scott Boland have been taking a bag full of wickets for the last 3 or 4 summers. As he completes that over, and score remains at 1 for 117. VJ 52 and Vihari on 2. But James Pattinson, who's just come back into the reckoning, has been bowling really, really well. And a player like Jackson Coleman, who's been playing mainly Futures League, has a chance to break into that side.
Looks like Darcy Short as well, back into the attack, replacing Summers. It's a good spell from Aaron. 25 from 8 overs, and Darcy got the breakthrough earlier. It's another chance.
Yeah, it's got just the 1 wicket for the CA11. 2 overs, no maidens, 1 for 8. Moving KL Rahul a mistimed tuck shot onto the onside, and he's darting this ball into the pads of VJ.
The lefties seem to be doing it. Cricket Australia 11. Coleman's been good. Darcy as well. You know, he's only got the 1 wicket from his 2 overs so far. He's asked a few questions.
And he's struck on the pad. His appeals, they fall on deaf ears. And
Pretty
move
close.
there is Abood.
Yeah, looks like Jared Abood and Paul Blocker Wilson might have been swung around, but maybe not coming back enough. Originally thought it was a bit closer than that, Jack, but not a bad shout.
Forward and defending this time is VJ, so he's had some scares in this innings, but he has played his shots, and I guess that's what you'll want him to do come the first test. You're assuming that he will take his spot on KL Rahul. Sweeping, this is the one he wants. Backward a square leg for 4. Played with great authority there and just picked up the length really quickly and tucked that one around the corner. Another boundary to Murali. VJ goes to 56 and India 1 for 121.
Yeah, it's an interesting tidbit that just by virtue of how rare they are, Darcy Short's probably the best left-arm wrist spinner in the whole country. So good for India to get a look at him in an environment like this, but certainly with a guy like Yadav in their squad not posing great headaches.
This ball just clipped around the corner through that mid-wicket region out to the deep for a single. So Vihari back on strike, and VJ's moved to a nice innings of 57 from 96. Rahul was caught Bryant off the bowling of Short for 62. So just the 1 centurion in this match, and that was Harry Nilsson, who made an even 100 earlier today. Driving a bit of a inside edge there as it squeezed its way through fine leg goes 90% of the way to the boundary, and Bahari is able to come back for 2. So that will end the over. He goes to 4, and VJ will be back on strike at the next over. 34 overs completed, 13 left in the day. It's 1 for 124 India. VJ 57, Bahari 4.
Yeah, just what Jackson Coleman would have wanted with the last ball before he came on to bowl again. So go for a big run down towards fine leg and retrieve the ball. He bowled well in his last over. Love to pick up a wicket here. Finish off this match in good spirits. The Cricket Australia 11.
Yeah, a couple of wickets here would just really bolster them and end what's been a fairly successful match for this young side. Coleman with a short of length ball. There's a bit of a mix-up there, and he has to scurry back. Does VJ. There was a whole lot of miscommunication there between both the batsmen. I'm not sure what they were thinking. They both just kind of luck. Almost ended an unfortunate way for VJ. They both kind of looked at each other and both started running, and then...
Yeah, I think they were both waiting for the other to make a decision. Absolutely no communication between them out there on that. Hit out on the stumps, could have been close.
This ball catches the edge and goes through first slip for 4. Might have bounced just shy of a regulation first slip if they had it in, but it was a really good ball which shaped away there from Jackson Coleman, and VJ didn't know too much about it. Probably would have carried that knee or shin height, and gets away with one there.
Literally just taken first slip out, Jack. Put him into second gully, and as always seems to be the case, that's where the ball goes straight away. So unfortunate there for Jackson Coleman. He deserves a wicket. He's been really good today. I thought he was good on day 1. He's been even better in this second innings, Jack, that's for sure. I think they all have. Summers as well.
Yeah, no doubt they would have analysed a lot of their lines and lengths from that second day where India scored quickly. Coming into VJ in this one. Again, beats the outside edge. So the left armers continue to trouble India here on this final day, shaping away a little bit.
I've said this before, Jack, but if you're Mitchell Starc, who's now probably tuned into the coverage given that the Sixers game is finished with his wife Alyssa, be absolutely licking lips the way that Jackson Coleman has troubled all the Indian batsmen out here in this second innings. KL Rahul was lucky to survive his first spell, and VJ's had his troubles as well.
He's been beaten the last 2 balls, or I say beaten, one took the edge and went through the cordon. One beat him all ends up. He decides to not offer a shot this time.
If you add an extra 10 or 15 kilometres of pace and the ability to swing the ball both ways, you've got to think that Mitchell Starc might be in for an Indian summer.
Yeah, you'd love to get amongst the wickets, having got his taste with a few for New South Wales, and he's on his Shield game down in Canberra. Successful down there as VJ realises probably the best mode of attack is defence here, and just has let those last couple of balls go.
Yeah, it's an interesting one how to play Jackson Coleman, and obviously the batsmen are trying to score runs and be positive, but doesn't really bowl anything that's going to hit the stumps. Everything's going across the right-handers. He's moving it away from the right-hander off the pitch a little bit. Nothing really coming back and hitting the stumps, so it leaves a safe option. Or you can play a shot like that. Smack it over the covers, all the way for 4.
Yeah, he's absolutely spanked that, hasn't he? It's really well timed, and that's the ability of Murali Vijay, is that it's just like a switch. Once it gets flicked, he can play some really good cricket shots. And it's not an overly bad ball, but that's just more like almost like a one-day shot or something you see in the IPL, just advancing down the track and just smacking it over the top of the infield.
Gave himself a bit of width with a move to the onside, and that's a way to tell the bowler, slow down, mate, you're not all over me yet.
Showing the class and skill there as VJ, who's now the leading scorer in this innings. 65 from only 102 balls, so he's done it quickly. Sizable grand here. Darcy Short to continue. Bahari just clips off the toes through square leg for a single.
Bahari was LBW to Short in the first innings after he did post a half century. So I'm sure he'll have that in mind. The West Australian coming in to bowl to him this over.
So Fiji gets an opportunity to face up to Short, and he goes to swoop across the line. It beats everything, and it's going to go down to the boundary for 4. So 4 more added to the Indian total. It goes down as buys, and this Indian total continues to tick along. They move to 1 for 137, and ball just moving its way past him. No doubt Harry Nielsen probably hopes he could have that one back. It's never a keeper's greatest memory when there is a ball that goes for buys, but later in the day there's been a lot of wear and tear on this wicket, so little inconsistencies on the in the pitch as well. Oh, he's chopping this one delicately. Bennett Gully. It's not going to go all the way to the fence. Will be enough for VJ to meander his way back for a couple. Goes along to 67. Just a nice little shot there, just using the pace of Darcy Short and running him down to third man. He does it again, this time not quite as well as the previous ball. Ram Upal comes across and cuts that off, and they actually don't get anything off that one.
Yeah, that's a good bit of fielding there by Upal. He moved well to his left. VJ looking really confident out there right now.
Forward and pad together, great technique as he defends out onto the offside. 11 overs left in the day. It's almost 10 minutes to 5 local time here in Sydney. 1 for 139 at India, still trailing by 47, of course. The Cricket Australia 11 posted 544 in their first innings. As the tail wagged, Harry Nielsen smashed a ton. There was useful contributions from Aaron Hardy, as well as half centuries to Darcy Short and Max Bryan at the top of the order as well. So it's been a good 3 days here for CA11 boys. They've been able to pick up the 1 wicket, but on a pretty flat track like we've seen here in Sydney. It was always going to be tough for the bowlers for both sides. Short ball and evaded there. Here's Vihari, who's back on strike, so he's on 5. He's been a little bit uncertain during times, but still at the early part of his innings. Scav Joshi makes his way back into the commentary section.
Hello, Jack.
19 minutes late, Gav.
19 minutes late, yes.
We're going to dock you some pay for that.
Go for it.
Or maybe we might do what the strength and conditioning coaches do and get you to run sprints after today's play. This is a sublime cover drive into the gap by Vihari.
Don't mind that, actually. Might get a story out of this strength and conditioning coach. I think put my journalist cap on here.
Yes.
So.
You can do what some journalists have done in Australia, where they've done a pre-season with an NRL side. You can do a pre-season with a cricket side, maybe a Ranji Trophy side. There might be other ways you could spend your summer.
There are, and 37 degrees in Sydney tomorrow, so I don't want to be part of any pre-season camps, thank you. I'll just be down at one of the beautiful beaches in
India might be joining you as well, Gav, because I'm sure they're glad that the Indian summer type weather is not going to be greeting them in a tour match or a test match. They might be dipping their toes into Bondi Beach or Bronte Beach, or I'm not sure where the Indians are saying. But
maybe Glenelg Beach. Maybe they're down in Adelaide already.
Potentially.
I'm not sure what time they're flying out tomorrow, but on the way to Adelaide, maybe if it's an afternoon flight, they probably might go to Bondi or a Coogee or a Clovelly, or you're a Shire boy somewhere down in
Cronulla.
In Cronulla.
Cronulla, South Cronulla. wonder. Pretty much all in the same area.
It's similar type of weather like this in the Shire all the time, isn't it? 365 days. I used to work with a guy. He said, it never rained in the Shire. I said,
Well,
once you cross the Tom Ugley's bridge.
well, it certainly did on Monday. It did more than just rain. That's why I didn't leave the house and didn't make it out to the SCG. So, beautiful spot of Sydney, but much like the rest of Sydney.
I'll tell you what I like down
nice.
in the Shire, the place there, Gunnamatta Bay. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's just off centre where South Cronulla is.
Shane Watson stays down there.
Yeah, Shane Watson,
Michael Clark.
Steve Smith is a Shire boy. Yeah, Michael Clark had a pad at Lillipilly for a while.
Okay.
So there's a fair few of them down there. Steve Boris. Another player, former player that lives in the Sutherland Shire.
I'd like to claim him as one of our own coming in from Bankstown.
Yep.
Yeah, just a flyer coming in straight in our commentary box, but maybe they're getting ready for the summer as well. You know when the summer's here, when the flies have started to bug you. So
Flies and mosquitoes.
Flies and mosquitoes. So
You can hear the crickets
yep.
making their noises. You know it's hot outside. If you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can hear the crickets go. It's probably going to happen tomorrow.
Add to that the delicious ice cream we had at tea as well.
Yes.
Ooh, that. Was very good.
Yeah, I think the delicates that they served up for tea might have been better than what we got for lunch. We got finger sandwiches for lunch and party pies, but the ice creams and some beef skewers with satay sauce. It's
delicious.
Great work done by the SCG staff. The end of the over, 37 gone 1 for 141 inside the final 10 overs of the day.
Mentioned Sutherland and Bankstown, that edge. There's Jasprit Bumrah and alongside him. He's probably looking for a massage. That's Arun Kannade there. Give us a wave, Arun. Give us a wave. Ah, good man. There he is, standing behind the side screen. Maybe get a wave out of Jasprit Bumrah. Come on, Jasprit, give us a wave. No, nothing for him.
He had a right smile on his face, so...
Good stuff. The game's winding down, so I'm sure India will be quite satisfied with the amount of practice they've got. They might have wanted to bat a little bit more today, but Hanuman Vihari coming in of Rohit Sharma. I'm not sure what that means, but if you can... Looking ahead into the test match, you probably feel that he might have, he might be the first cab off the rank at that number 6 spot going into Adelaide. We saw him bowl a bit of spin as well, and nice to see. Very casual pickup.
Yeah, I thought that had gone past him for a minute there, Gav. I was like, oh, I don't think the captain's going to be too pleased.
Maybe our voices have been heard out towards the SCG and everyone's starting to think about the beach tomorrow. Eh?
Yes, maybe. There's that casual attitude that I think is starting to come in, and it's the back end of the day, so no doubt. These players are probably thinking about a nice cold shower, as this ball is absolutely dispatched all the way. I think that's gone all the way for 6, it has. So a maximum there for Murali Vijay. And I was speaking about his form with Maxi a little bit before, and one of those players, it's almost like a light switch when it's flicked on, not necessarily aggressive, and we've seen him play that aggressive stroke there, but just seems to play some really classy